Hi all and welcome to my bedroom. As you can see, I'm in bed resting. It's been a hot minute since I've done a video, and I know I said I would do a crafting video in January, and then February went around, and I figured I would let you guys know what's going on with me and why there have been no videos. So let's get to this. The reason there has been no videos made in the month of January and February is I got really sick in January. I was okay for almost part of February, and then I came down with a really nasty case of vertigo that landed me in the hospital. So I have not, I've been knitting, but I have decided not to go full head on into a crafting video right now because they're still trying to figure out why my vertigo is getting so bad. So I'm going to show you guys what I've been working on. And this is actually a sweater that I am doing, and I'm going to kind of show you the patterns of it. Hopefully you guys can see this. I'm using my laptop as my camera, which for regular viewers, you know that I don't really use my actual personal camera on my computer. I usually use my iPhone on the tripod, but since I'm in the bedroom. So, I promised you guys I would show you guys how to crochet. I have a book. Right now, I need to get the sweater done, and I'm working on my first ever pair of socks. Knitting. So I think when it comes to crafting, I'm going to end up doing more knitting videos than crochet videos. But don't worry, I will teach you guys how to crochet. And crocheting is relatively easy. You might notice me looking to the right, and that's because I have a little bit of vertigo today. I'm looking to see if I have any yarn, and unfortunately the spool of yarn that I have is already in use. So I'll do that later on. I don't really feel like doing it today. So there will be videos coming up soon. If you're interested in doing that sweater as a knitting sweater, it is on Ravelry. It's a Stephen West pattern. It's called the Brie Ornate Sweater. It's about eight bottles. Ugh, I am out of it. It's $8. Stephen West patterns on Ravelry are in euros, and they're usually $7 or $8 or time out. I gotta backtrack. I'm gonna leave this mistaken because it's funny and it's me. His patterns are in euros, so when you look up any of Stephen West's shawls, hats, socks, sweaters, their patterns are going to be in euros, and you need to convert them into US dollars. Now, Ravelry will automatically do that if you purchase it, and it's about $8.50 to $9 US when you purchase this pattern. But that isn't Ravelry, and hopefully you guys have all gotten your Ravelry accounts and started to explore the different patterns in there. I will, in the next video, show you guys how to do a simple cast on for crochet. And actually, you know what? It's been a while. I'm not doing anything today other than resting. I'm going to kind of move you guys. Hopefully you don't see anything naughty that you're not supposed to see. Give me a second. I'm going to grab a ball of yarn. Let me use that one. That one's really twisted. We don't use that one. Oh, here, I can use this one. This one's not in use. So, and we're going to actually discuss yarns. So, I know a lot of people, Joann's is going out of business. You still have Michael's, you still have Walmart, and you still have Hobby Lobby, if those are your only choices. I suggest going to a good yarn store. Look for one in your area. Chances are they're mom and pop owned. Um, Most of them are nice. There are some exceptions in it. I'm going to show you the difference in good quality yarn that you would get at a yarn store. And this was purchased from my local yarn store. And this comes in one of these. This is called a hank or a scan or whatever you want to call it. I always mispronounce this. And can you use this? Not without winding it. So if you buy one of these, you need to have both a ball winder and a swift to wind this into a usable yarn. So this color started in a hank like this, and it was wound into a ball. I actually wound my balls, and I have another one that I'll show you that I already wound, and you can see the tag is in the center of the ball, and you work on the outside. This is one that you don't do from the inside. You go on the outside, and it winds really nicely. Now you can buy, I'm going to try to move it. Sometimes in good yarn stores, and this again was purchased at a local yarn store a little bit further than where I live. This was downtown. But this is already wound. So you can find yarn balls like this that are already wound, and you don't have to wind this on a swift. You just go ahead and use it. Now most people that only go to like Joann's or Hobby Lobby or Michael's. Oh, pardon me. I just dropped you guys. Give me a second. I hit the wrong button. So those of you that go to Hobby Lobby or Walmart or Joann's or Michael's are used to buying scans that are already wound. They're buy, go, and use. So if you go to a yarn store, just remember, and most yarn stores will do it free of charge if you purchase yarn from them or that's not wound. They will ask you if you want your yarn wound. And of course, if they're that nice, take advantage of that. They'll gladly wind it for you. What I suggest, if you buy a lot of yarn, don't wind all of them. And there is the reason for this is longer they sit like this, they lose some of their elasticity, and you don't want to have all of your balls wound. Only wind what you're going to use, and you can always go back. You always can ask them, listen, I'm going to purchase 8 skeins. I need 3 or 4 wound right now. Can I come back and will you wind the other 3 or 4 that I purchased? Chances are they'll say yes, just bring them in when you're ready to use them. Now, if you're like me, I do have a Swift and I do have a ball winder. You can purchase them. I will tell you right now, they are not cheap. A good Swift can run you easily about $100 to $150 or more. Now, the ball winder itself, they do make good ball winders, and the good ball winders start at about $100, and they can go up into the $400, $500, $600 just for the ball winder. And you need both. You don't want to try to wind one of these with just a ball winder. You definitely need a Swift, because what the Swift does is it holds the yarn in place, and many people try to just lay out the hank and put it on a ball winder, and that never works, because what happens is the yarn gets so twisted it becomes unstable and unusable, and then you're out a lot of money. Now, yarn at my local yarn store is all over the place price-wise. The good yarns, and we'll get into yarn, why I'm a yarn snob, and why I like the better quality yarn versus the more cheap or economical yarn. And one of these was almost $20. So one scan. This sweater has used 8 of these so far, and I still have 4 more to go for the sleeves. So that sweater has cost me over $200, and that's going to be a sweater for me. So my yarn store has yarn that is priced anywhere from about $6 up to, I think her most expensive is pushing $40 for one of these. And it's good quality wool. She has wool, she has cotton, she has everything from fingering to sock or sport yarn, DK weighted, worsted weighted, chunky, super chunky. You name it, she has it, and they all have different price points. Now, her most expensive yarn in the store right now, I think, is about $100 a spool, but it's a big cake, and it has 450 yards to one hank. So you would buy less of it, but it would still be a couple $100 for a project. So let's get into what you need to do for crocheting or for knitting. And that's all yarn is going to do is it's going to start with a slip knot. Now, when I do a slip knot, what I do is I just do a basic loop. And there are YouTubes, so I'm doing a knot like that. And then you would put your needle in here. And you always want to have a tail. Now, when I knit, I do what they call a long tail cast on. And what that means is you're using this. Unfortunately, I don't have a needle to show you because all my needles currently are in projects. But you would put the needle through here, and I'm going to use my finger and I'm going to adjust this. So you would do that, and then you would what you would basically do, and I'm going to switch fingers because when I do the cast on, I usually do a right-handed cast on. Even though I knit left-handed, I do a right cast on. So what you would do is you would do a slingshot method, and then it's just you go in between. Now this is for knitting and not for crocheting. It's different for crocheting because you're going to chain. But you just cast on like that. And again, pretend that my finger is the needle. So I've done two stitches so far. So I'll show you that again in a little bit of slow motion for you new knitters. Is you hold the yarn like this, you go under one, you grab the first one, and then you pull it through. So it's like that, and then you bring it down. And that's your third stitch. Now that's a long tail cast on. Now, how long does your tail need to be for a cast on for a project in knitting? It depends on how many stitches you need to cast on. If the project, and I think the sweater was 112 or 120, I don't remember because I don't have the pattern in front of me. You want to have at least 3 times the amount of tail yarn for the cast on. So you want to have at least at the end of your cast on at least a 6-inch tail that you're going to weave in as you go for that. Now for crocheting, and unfortunately, let me see, I do have a crochet hook. Okay. Oop. Now this is the smaller one and not the one I would normally use for crocheting, but crocheting, same way. You want to have a little bit of a tail, and you want to do the same thing. You want to do a slip knot. So I'm going to do a little slip knot, and what you want to do is you want to make it kind of tight. You don't want to make it so tight on your needle. And then for crocheting, it's a little bit different. So what I do is for crocheting, it's just basically the well, actually, I take that back. Hold on. I'm a little out of it because I'm also on meds. So for crocheting, you have your tail, you have your slip knot, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to chain. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold the yarn like this, and you're just going to pull through, and you're just going to make a series of chains. So if a project says chain 150, you're going to do this 150 times, and I'm going to do just a couple more to get started. So these are what they call the chains, and I'm going to get my fat fingers out of here. I'm going to bring this a little bit further in so you can see it. So those are chains. And then what you do is when the project says single crochet in the first one, you're going to skip this one that's on the needle, and you're going to go actually into the next stitch. And you're going to do a pass through. You're going to have 3, and then you're going to go through the 3. Well, that was a different one. It's been a while since I've crocheted, but I can crochet. So that's basically how you crochet, and then there are different stitches that you can do crochet-wise. So that, in a nutshell, is how you get started. And there are plenty of videos online to look at for projects. There's beginner crocheting, beginning knitters. There are plenty of cast on, how to chain videos on there. Look for the ones, and I suggest if you do that on YouTube, look at a couple of them. You'll find your favorite person. Knitting, I like Nimble Needles. Of course, I like Stephen West. Now, keep in mind, if you're a lefty like me, you're going to have to kind of mirror image them. So what they do, you're going to do in a different direction than what a right-handed person does. If you're right-handed, there are a lot of videos for right-handed people. There are also videos for left-handed. You just have to type in whatever stitch you want to do. So if you want to do a long tail cast on for left-handed, you put left-handed in there, and then they will show you videos for the left-handed knitter. So get some projects, get some yarn, practice casting on, either knitting wise if you're going to knit, do a lot of chains for crocheting, and eventually, if you've done either knitting or crocheting in the past, but it's been a long time, it'll actually come back to you. If you're a beginner, watch a couple of beginning videos. They will show you some basic stitches. In crocheting, there's a single crochet, which is an SC. If you look at a pattern and you're wondering, I can't read a pattern, I don't know what the terminology is. Well, if you're a crocheter and it says SC, that's a single crochet. If it has a double SC, or a double CS, that's a double, or a DC. I'm sorry, DC is a double crochet. Knitting is a little bit different. If it's a K, it's a knit stitch. If it's a P, it's a purl stitch. We'll get into how to read patterns a little bit later. I don't want to do that today because I've got other things to do. But anyway, thank you guys so much for seeing this. I'll see you guys on the next crafting video. I hopefully will start to slowly get back to videos. I'm going to do one a week. But as we get further into the month of March, I have a couple of doctor's appointments that might make it a little bit different, and it all depends on how my vertigo is doing. So I will be back. They may be sporadic for the time being, but we'll get them back, and I will show you guys the projects that I've been working on. I thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you on the next Crafting with Joel video.